For my kingdom, had to buy some harmony. Now I'm flexing with my jewels, you can tell I got a lot on me. Grab another hero, feeling like I hit the lottery. Farming, getting API, stacking profits to the sky. 1x2.
What's good, everybody? Welcome.
going
What's
on?
up, Chips and Salsa? Thanks for showing up, team. Happy Mother's Day. In the words of Mark Wahlberg, say hi to your mother for me. So happy Mother's Day. Make sure to take care of your mothers, pamper your mothers, wives, etc. Because your life will be better and they will be happier. I do want to read a quick disclaimer before we get into this. This podcast is unaffiliated with DeFi Kingdoms and Kingdom Studios. And while we are all fans of DeFi Kingdoms, the views of the hosts and guests of the show do not represent the views of DeFi Kingdoms team and Kingdom Studios. So with that out of the way, welcome to the show. We have Richard Alpert as a guest today. Richard, welcome to the show.
Hello, guys. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah,
Awesome.
welcome, man.
And
Awesome,
Richard
awesome.
today, and I know Sandwich and Baby Punch have dove quite deep on Richard's product. So we're going to dive into this third party and, let's make sure we articulate this correctly. Have you guys gotten a grant yet, Richard, or are you still seeking a grant from Harmony? From DFK.
So we are an independent team unrelated to DeFi Kingdoms core team. We applied for the grant proposal, but the DeFi Kingdoms postponed the grant and they launched the new grant system on Thursday. We applied. We are currently listed for a grant, but we have not yet received the grant. We restructured the grant in the way that our product is going to be finished with or without the grant. So the new grant, the way it's being structured is whether or not to integrate with DFK core contracts or not, or to remain independent. So the new grant is more about, does the community want DFK Arena to integrate with core contracts or not? So that's pretty much what the grant right now is standing at.
Okay, one quick thing, and I want to turn it over maybe to Sandwich, and Sandwich can start sharing while we take questions from the community. We'll have some questions for Richard as well. So just a high level, Richard is the creator, the founder of DFK Arena, this third-party project. Really quick, Chips and Salsa just asked, Baby Punch and Sandwich Punch are wearing some fire shirts for DFK.
Yeah.
One of our friends, unrelated to us in the podcast, is producing these awesome shirts. I will tweet out. Sandwich Punch will probably tweet out.
Yeah,
that link.
I've got the link.
We'll
so
put it in the chat.
We'll
So he's awesome. His wife does amazing work. So check it out. So with that said, Sandwich Punch, do you want to start sharing and let's start asking and going through the process? And then chat, if you have questions for Richard on DFK Arena, we'll be looking at chat and funneling those to Richard. Meanwhile, let's get into the app.
Yeah, so let me share my screen. And guys, Bloater Punch said Baby Punch and I are deep into this. We just connected wallets this morning, so not actually true. And what we really want to just figure out how this works, what's going on. I connected.
Deep.
we are.
And obviously, guys, we don't represent DeFi Kingdoms. This is not a stamp of endorsement, but we are very excited to see things being built around the ecosystem. And so we wanted to just check it out and see what it's about. So this was the website, beta.dfkarena.com. Always be super careful with your links and what you're connecting your wallet to, people. It's just, you always got to be careful. When I went to the website, it asked to connect my MetaMask. I connect my MetaMask, and then it took me to this this page. So, Richard, I believe what happens is you have to deposit to be able to play the game.
Correct.
You need to deposit some gold and some jewel.
Yes, so basically we have what's called an escrow smart contract where you have to deposit into the escrow smart contract gold or jewel to be able to either join or create duels. Currently, each duel will charge 0.1 jewels per hero level, and as another fee is 4.9% of the gold bet on each duel. So currently you have to deposit both the gold and the jewel that you want to use. And then with that, you'll be able to join or create a duel. And then people within your same hero level brackets will be able to join your duel.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Go for it, Sandwich.
I was just say, so it's if I want to like create a match, I need to essentially put in some jewel and some gold,
Right.
and then DFK Arena takes a portion of that, or what? Could you recap that again? What you said?
Yes. So once you deposit your jewel and your gold, you can withdraw it at any time. There's no fees or anything charged for depositing or withdrawing. It's only when you create or join a duel that the fees are charged. So, for example, if you go to where it says Stat 1v1 page on your left,
Mm-hmm.
and there you would have, if you click on that button, you go to the main page, and then on that interface you see those 2 live games where you could join, or you could create your own game on the right, on the one on the right where it says create game. You select basically the bet amount, and those 3 bet amounts are what is called $10 worth of gold, $100 worth of gold, or $1,000 worth of gold. And we created a gold oracle that every 24 hours will basically reprice to US dollars to make sure those amounts always stay at the same sort of US dollar ranges.
Okay.
So, do you have to deposit your hero into the escrow contract, or does your native wallet, the player wallet, always retain ownership of the hero during the process?
So the player wallet the hero does not need to be deposited into the escrow contract. Whenever you create or join a duel, it is essentially you're staking your hero to the actual battle contract. As soon as the battle is completed, the hero is unstaked, right? And so that's essentially how it functions. As soon as the battle goes through, and then you claim your winnings, it essentially unstakes the hero from the individual battle contract.
So, how long ago did you conceive this? And from moment of conception to today, how long did it take to roll this out?
So we started this idea. I think we actually, started gathering the team and signing stuff was November of last year.
Wow.
Was when, we started talking to the DeFi Kingdoms team and really, wanting to build out a PvP system. And, we had a lot of communication with Dreamer, with some other core DeFi Kingdoms folk. And really, trying to figure out what's the best approach if we wanted to build like a really complicated and sort of skill-based combat system. But we're talking with DFK folks, they were like, look, let's just build something really, really, really simple, something RNG based, because we're already building something, where there's going to be a lot more skill based and a lot more nuanced. So I think if you guys introduce something that's just very simple RNG based, it will be complementary to what we're developing, right? So then we set forward to do that, to build something that's complementary rather than competing with what they're building, right? So from there, we really started to sort of look for really professional studios, and we hired a very professional design studio to do the animations and a top blockchain development firm to do all the back end of the blockchain firm in the US. And from there, we just started working and getting, basically, just keep coding. And it was literally the beta launched yesterday. So it's been since November to yesterday, and almost 200 grand on the whole.
So
yeah.
Bass Breedveld from the chat says 4.9% rake plus jewel cost seems a bit high. How did you come up with the fee system structure?
It actually was a lot higher before when we proposed it. We were actually doing 10% rake and one jewel flat fee per level. But then when we did the sort of community, the first grant proposal, we heard that people, rather reduce that a bit. So we went down to 4.9% to 0.1. I mean, the truth is, we're not issuing a token. We're not getting funded by anybody. We have to recoup, it is a business at the end of the day, and we have to recoup our investment. So that's pretty much what's driving it.
Okay. Ghost Panda 4 says, what happens to the hero if something happens during the battle? In other words, if there's an error with the battle contract, is there risk to the hero?
So the contract, the way it works is it's atomic. So what an atomic transaction means is that it's basically one long chain in the blockchain where if something goes wrong, the entire transaction reverts. So to date, and all the transactions that have currently happened, the worst thing that could happen is that the transaction gets delayed to be confirmed, and then you just have to wait until the blockchain confirms it, right? And maybe that's the worst thing that could happen.
Awesome.
But pretty much everything else is with the heroes. Just with the heroes, there's nothing that could actually end up deleting the hero or anything, because we don't actually modify the hero contract at all.
Awesome. Jay Hudson says, will DFK Arena be on Crystal Vale or Sarandel? Will it burn Jewel? I think we already addressed that. There will be no Jewel burn. will it add utility to Juul somehow? Again, I think some people are misconceiving.
So
This is like a private company operating here. Do you have
yeah,
any thoughts on that,
yeah.
though?
So we are currently, our contracts are rolled out on Harmony, which is Crystal Vale. For Harmony Serendale. For Crystal Vale, it is on DFK chain, and DFK chain is a permission blockchain, which means we need permission from DFK core team to actually do anything there, and that's a process that the DFK team still has not let anybody know how that process is. So we obviously want to deploy there, but we have to sort of engage with them and seeing how to actually go about that. But we are super eager to do that and deploy on Crystal Vale as well. That's sort of the next thing we want to do.
So what about? Oh, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
And then another thing is, so we have our proposal right now in the grant program. And one of the things is that if the grant program passes, for us to integrate with the DeFi Kingdoms core contract, which means right now the way that the game works is that when you have a duel and the hero, the duel is over, the hero has a cooldown that you can't use that hero again for another duel or join it with another for 4 hours. If we integrate with DeFi Kingdoms core contract, as if the grant proposal passes, then that will change. And instead of having a 4-hour cooldown, the winning heroes mana power will be set to 0, and the losing heroes HP will be set to 0. And then you will have to wait for that just to recharge up again before you can use it. Or you can use mana pots or health point pots and also be given XP. So that's something else. If the grant proposal happens, that's how the platform will change. And not only that, but if the grant proposal also changes, we will be doing a revenue share, meaning that we will share after a certain threshold amount of dollars is met. 50% will stay with us, and the other 50% will go to the DeFi Kingdoms community. That will go to either the Quest Fund, or it could be used to burn gold, or it could be used to liquidity, whatever the community decides. That could go to that. But that will only happen if the grant proposal gets approved.
So how this is on Harmony? So does that mean? I mean, if it's on Harmony, because they now have the bridge open for the Crystal Vale Heroes, like if people bridge from Heroes from DFK chain over, those
on the smart contract, it checks only for the old hero classes. You will get an error if you use a new hero class, just because they were released like 2 days ago. We didn't have animations or anything ready for that. I mean, eventually we will be able to handle those classes, but we didn't have they were released 2 days ago, and we haven't been able to work on those yet.
Okay.
Awesome. One last question I had was, what is the point, if you guys are a private entity, you're not affiliated with DFK yet, what is the point of the 4-hour cooldown, right? Because it seems like it would be in your incentive, your interest, to allow everyone to transact freely. What's the point of the 4-hour cooldown?
So it would be if we were to be 100% profit seeking, we would remove that 4-hour cooldown and just have everybody spam their heroes, right? But because we want to sort of help balancing the community, we don't want to have just too many, like, for example, if you have a Dread Knight or you have a Super Mythic, there's a lot less of those. So if you're going to use that's your best hero, you're going to make sure you're going to bet high on that one, because you can only use it every 4 hours. So if the hero cooldown is for every 4 hours, the more common heroes will have a less likely chance to encounter an overpowered hero. So it's basically the 4-hour cooldown is to better level the playing field with general level heroes rather than Mythic or Dread Knights, right?
Got it. All right, do we want to do a battle?
Yeah, let's try it. Baby Punch, do you have guys on?
Yeah. I gotta address this. There ain't gonna be no throttling here. We're gonna come out the gate swinging.
So, all right, I have not done a duel yet, so let's see how it is, and then maybe Richard, you can explain this how this works. So
just to say, this is a beta, so all the animations are still being worked on. So don't hate too much. I mean, they're going to be a lot better than they are now. But it is a beta, so we're working on that.
Work in process. Yeah. Okay. So I will be charged. That's the gold, and I'll be charged 0.8 Joule because my hero is level 8, right? Okay.
Yes.
And then if I win, I will get 6,200 gold.
Yes.
Let's see how this goes. So then, I guess how will Baby Punch know which live game is mine?
So you're really not supposed to. So you're not supposed to know who you're betting against. So on all odds, it's actually there's a possibility he will join somebody else's.
All right, try
duel.
that. Try
So
that third one. Try that third one, baby punch.
Okay, hold on one second.
Do you want me
My
to-
hero
So,
is.
so there's actually a high
Yeah,
probability.
don't start it yet. Don't start it yet. My
No, but there's a, you know what you could do? You could maybe bet. You could bet on a higher amount, and then you will know that the higher amount
$1,000?
are
You
due.
want to do $1,000?
yeah,
No,
bro.
like no, because the thing is, like, we don't want to show who you're betting against, because then you could see what heroes the other person has, and you can sort of snipe, and sort of we want to
Yeah,
able to play.
that's fair. That's fair.
The only drawback, well, we probably will add in the future another feature to do private
Duels.
game. Yeah, private duel, so you can duel with your friends. But that's a new feature we need to add.
That'd be sweet.
How many smart contract developers dedicated to this did you have to get this off the ground?
We have around 10.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow, that is robust.
Yeah.
Jay
Front
Hudson
end,
saying,
back end, and front end, back end, and Solidity developers.
All right, are you ready, baby punch?
I'm ready. So how do I do
Okay.
this? So
So, oh wait, no. You created a duel. You were supposed to.
Yeah. So
You're supposed
no,
to
I
just
didn't
select
create. I
online.
just selected my hero.
So I see you guys there's 4 duels there, so there's like a 25% chance you will end up doing somebody else.
All right.
Okay.
Um,
We'll roll the dice here.
well, no, you cancel. Don't create yours.
I
join
just
one of
selected
those.
a hero.
Yeah.
I didn't,
So just
create.
join one of the other one. Join one of those.
Just join.
two.
Yeah,
You
just
have
join one of those 2. Yeah.
You have a
Just join
50-50 chance to get me if you duel.
Robert, or
Okay.
excuse me, Richard, can you walk through the RNG mechanics? How does this work?
Yeah. So basically, the way it works is.
Okay. Did you get it, Mark?
No,
No, that was somebody else. But go ahead and do it.
I
and
can
then,
cancel.
So basically, you roll a
I'll just
dice.
cancel.
It's sort of like a random number that,
Right, try
that
the other
basically picks one of the 8 stats to compare, and then whichever stat is higher will be inflicted as damage to the other hero.
Get it?
And whichever hero gets down to 0 first loses. That's pretty much
Yeah.
it.
So
you
if
have
I'm
to
if I'm a paladin
think that's
and I
how it
have really
works.
high strength, you're saying it might roll my wisdom, in which case I'm not doing very much damage. Is that correct?
Basically, let's say you're like a paladin who has 10 strength and like 5 wisdom, and then you're like, I don't know, a monk who has, I don't know, 6 strength and 6 wisdom. If it rolls on strength, right, then the paladin will inflict 10 to the monk. If it
Right,
rolls
hit-
on
hit
wisdom,
reset on
the
those
monk
there.
will inflict 6 to the paladin. Does that make sense?
Got it. And then and it's based on their HP total, right? So
Yeah,
high HP
yeah.
matters here, correct?
100%. High HP matters, 100%.
And then does
Oh.
it insta calculate? I guess we're gonna see, but it's like it rolls once and then it's like done, or does it go through rounds?
Well, in the smart contract, it goes like it insta calculates the whole event, the whole thing in one transaction. But when you see it on the front end, it'll play itself out.
Got it.
Okay, baby punch. Just click on one of those 3200s. Yep. Don't just do one of them. If it's me, then great. If not, so then hit.
Okay.
Yeah, select your hero. Hit confirm. And then.
Then you have to wait. The way it happens then is once you.
Oh, challenger
you're-
waiting. Mine's showing challenger waiting now.
Perfect. So then you have to
All
accept.
right, let's get it.
So then basically you have to accept the
So I hit-
challenger.
Do I hit this challenger waiting?
Yeah.
So what? I need to be at the computer. This isn't something you like create a duel and like walk away.
Yeah, no,
Right.
that's the whole point of the accepting somebody is for that, to prevent AFK guys. So somebody creates a duel and then they walk away. If you're joining the duel, you have 4 minutes to accept, or else the match just refunds everybody.
DFK Deuce has a good point. He says it's not effective to use magic users in this system because they have generally the lowest HP and only 2 high stats. Is that a fair statement?
I mean, the system was created to be the simplest as
Oh,
possible.
get wrecked, dude.
So
Wait,
yeah,
is it
only
me? Are
pretty
you
much
battling
characters with
me?
high HP will.
Yeah,
Hold on.
dude.
Got it.
I'm pretty sure this is you.
Because my screen does not show that.
You're probably
Is
you're probably
this-
fighting somebody else.
So wait, why does the archer get to hit multiple times?
Because it's going. So it's every stat.
Every stat, whoever's higher gets whichever stat is higher gets inflicted on the
It's
other
like
guy.
endurance. He
okay,
wins.
got
Dexterity.
it. So
I win.
The archer won multiple rounds because he had the higher stat, right?
Right.
Get
Oh, God,
wrecked.
this guy's wrecking me,
Get
dude.
wrecked.
So if it's like
Bro.
endurance, does that just mean it rolled endurance a couple times in a row? I just
Yeah.
got unlucky there. Oh,
Yeah, you're done.
Dang it.
Dude,
done.
you're getting
Oh,
shut down.
Come on. I need
Come
like
back,
5
baby. No,
No.
Dang
you're
it. All right, this wasn't you?
I don't know. I mean, I had a knight.
You have to hit accept. You have to hit accept.
So Richard, if someone, there's some discussion about this in the chat. I've heard this from other friends and on Twitter. Hey,
Okay, we should
not
chat.
enough nuance here, not enough meat on the bone, not complex enough, too much RNG.
That's exact. That's
Yeah, I think your
exactly
response
what,
would be that's
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
design. That was the design philosophy.
That was
based
the
on
design,
feedback from users.
exactly. And it was specifically a request from the DFI Kingdoms core team. Make it as simple as possible without just pure RNG based, while we do a more sophisticated and skill based PvP system.
When did they say that? Out of curiosity, when did they say
That was
they were
around
gonna use
November or December, more or less.
So
So
that had to have been Baby Punch's fight, right? Because he now doesn't have like
Yeah,
anything on his screen.
But my screen did not go to the duel. I'm wondering if something happened. Let's try it again.
We will. So the goal is really to make, as time progresses, we will make more games. So the next one will be, the goal is to really end up. Sorry, the goal really long term for us is to do like a League of Legends with DeFi Kingdoms NFTs. So that's
wow,
long term goal.
a
But
MOBA with NFTs from DeFi Kingdom.
But that's
Alright.
baby steps. So we got to do baby steps. Right.
So baby
So
We're
create
starting
one
with a simple-
sandwich.
And why don't you create one and I'll try to join it?
DFK Deuce, to answer your question,
Okay.
it does look clean. There's no nuance happening. There's no crit. There's no dodge. This is by design how they wanted to do it. For those who missed that comment from Richard, the DFK team specifically requested that DFK Arena be more simplistic, more RNG focused, whereas DFK's product, in theory, would be more complex and have more nuance to their battle system.
Right. So we want it to be complementary rather than be, competing.
Competitive.
Yeah.
All right, so I just saw a new one pop up. I'm gonna go to.
By the way,
my
those
screen
animations
here.
you said, hey, they're gonna be better. I thought those were actually pretty decent for what we're doing here.
Right.
So
I mean,
I'd say the
by
vanilla
next week there will be a lot better effects and stuff.
So, yeah. So this must be yours. I'll do this archer, I guess. Do I not have any other heroes?
Wait, why? Why can't you use your mythic?
I can't, because I just fought with him. So he's got a 4-hour cooldown.
Oh, a 4.
Seahawk Heel, mana does not play into this at all at this point. Is that correct?
Not
Richard?
only if
Let me find my other hero real
if
quick.
the grant proposal goes through and we are approved for the grant proposal and we integrate with DeFi Kingdoms 4 contracts, then instead of having a
I'm gonna
4-hour
cancel
cooldown, all the heroes, the winning heroes will have their mana reset to 0, and the losing heroes will have their HP reset to 0, and then they will have to wait until their MP goes up to full to be able to create another duel, or they can use a health potion or a mana potion to create more utility to those potions, but currently there's no use for them.
But in that scenario, Richard, does it matter if you have high or low mana?
No.
Okay, you're just saying it would be used as a reset stat.
Yeah, exactly.
So is there any reason, like if I go to join a game, why maybe more of my heroes that are between level 5 to 9 aren't showing up?
You have to filter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I mean, it depends. It depends on there's like a filter.
No, I got it now. Okay, Baby Punch, create it. Let's do this.
All right, okay.
Yeah, DFK Deuce, I would agree. If I have only commons, I don't know if I feel super excited about participating in this kind of system. And it's not just a DFK Arena problem. I think in general, like if DFK has their own combat system, commons are gonna suck, right? We know that.
The goal is with the cooldown is that if you have a high dreadnought or like a big mythic, and you have to you can only use it once every 4 hours, you're probably gonna have a higher probability of winning. So you're gonna go high roller and go the highest level bet. If you have a common hero, you're probably going to go on the lower tier bet. So therefore, usually what you're going to see is
balance, right.
There will be some balance that you'll see, like the really high powerful heroes will be doing really big bets, and the more common heroes will be doing the smaller tier bets. So that sort of adds more balance to sort of the different.
And Chips and Salsa said this, and I think this is worth repeating, and that is, everyone can be a peanut gallery couch quarterback and be like, oh, it should have been this or this. But ultimately, this is more than anyone has today, right? This is the kind of the first product. So I think we're really excited just as a community to have something to do as opposed to nothing or very little. So that's super exciting, and I think it should be commended for sure.
Thank you.
So what do I do here, Sandwich?
It was insanely
I'm challenging you.
hard.
I'm challenging you. So you
to
got
get
a
this
big
done.
lift. What was the hardest part? Was it just integrating with these, like the smart contract side, or what was the hardest?
The hardest part really is because these are not traditional NFTs in the sense that it's not like just one JPEG image. These are
Right.
NFTs that are sort of compiled on top of each other with different sort
Layered.
of parts.
Yep.
And then each little part is a specific sort of genetic code in the NFT contract. And it just coordinating all that with the actual logic inside the block, the smart contract, because the smart contracts only have a limited amount of size that you can have per smart contract. So fitting all that data in that little smart contract was almost like insane. So
Wow.
getting all that was really
Is
really
this you,
complicated.
Sandwich?
Wow, you guys beating me on literally every stat. Okay, intelligence, get wrecked.
Is this you? Bro.
Yeah.
Seahawk,
wow,
MP
so-
does not help you in the duel, and I do not believe there's even
Jeez.
future functionality to help with you on the duel for MP. MP will only be a stamina stat alongside HP.
4
That's how
intelligence
they'll
hits in a row.
measure. So if you win, your MP will reset to 0, and then you will gradually regain MP. And when your MP hits max again, you'll be able to duel again. But MP will not influence combat in the way you're talking about, Seahawk.
Yes, not for now.
Ooh.
Not in this duel
Bro.
game. Maybe in another game we make, but not in this one game.
Come on.
Dude, when you hit those strength and endurance, it just
Yeah.
wrecks me. So it's it's a random, it's RNG for the stat, and then whichever stat wins, it does that much damage, like
Yeah,
the number of stat.
exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Bro, you
Does
brought
Ty
a
just the coin
monk
flip?
to a sword fight.
Dude, I was thinking, my thought was like, oh, my monk's like all around got good stats. Well, I just lost $20, guys. That's fun though. I'm not gonna lie.
That's
like,
pretty fun.
I think it's
And
fun.
but
Definitely get involved,
the monk animation is gonna be it's gonna be fire next week. Where it's gonna blow fire and it's gonna be fire bolts and stuff. It's gonna be dope.
Sweet. Well,
Richard,
I just got trounced.
He's got
on
this
the
is cool,
MP,
though.
Richard. So if you have a large MP pool, does that mean you would have longer between matches, or is it just
Yes,
percent based?
that is true. That is true. Which is a drawback for higher level heroes, which is that's like the intent to have higher cooldowns for better heroes and slow and less cooldowns for worse heroes.
Got it. Okay.
So that's where this will head, assuming you can get the grant and essentially be approved to interact with
Yes.
like the contracts.
We'll see what the community wants, right? It's up to the community to vote.
Got it.
Cool, man. Again, people like this is like, we're just here to like kind of check this out from a community perspective. This isn't like a stamp of endorsement from anybody, but like this is cool. I think this is really cool. I'm super excited to just see new stuff. And Richard, I wish you guys the best of luck with this. And it's just fun to see something we can do more than just like profession quest. So pretty cool.
Perfect.
Yeah, well done.
All right.
This will be fun.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. It's
Hey,
been a
thanks
lot
for
of
hopping
work,
on,
and we
Richard.
really want to make stuff that allows people to do stuff, right? And have fun.
Yeah.
Right? That's the
Thank
goal.
you for bringing something that we can actually play. I know it's in beta, but it feels a lot better than Q and Quest right now.
Cool. All right, guys. We're gonna have to head out, but thanks for having me.
Thanks, man.
Richard.
Okay. See ya.
Bye.
Sure. Bye.
Yeah, I think, and again, it's easy to cast stones, and I do think I agree with Baby Punch. Something's better than nothing. I think that should be commended. I think there's some really poorly thought out mechanics just from and that's like a first pass, like this idea, like what if you have, so he's like, hey, MP will reset to 0. So if you have a high MP hero that wins, it will take a really long time for that hero. But what if you just went low MP, high HP, and you're high level? And he said the point of that mechanic was to keep higher levels from questing as much or participating as much, but that wouldn't be the case. So I'm a little, I just feel like we could have added some nuance and it would have been easier, but it's really nice to see anything, to be honest.
It sounds like they were kind of pushed into a super simple format, though.
Yeah, and Ghost Panda's right. I think those fees are too high as well. That's kind of.
So the grant proposal website is open, so like people can go see and comment on it, and these are exactly the types of things. I mean, do I have it? See if I can find the website. Like, these are the types of things community members, like we should all be getting on there and like commenting on it, and giving that type of feedback, like, hey, that doesn't really make sense, or and I mean the whole point is like that third parties can help build something fun for everybody that doesn't need to like detract from the time of from the team.
I
See
will
if I can
say,
pull that website up. Go ahead.
I'm
Hey,
super
go to
curious
my
about this
screen. I've
idea,
got
though.
a battle going on.
So,
battle
so
going
did
on?
you
Alright.
hear this idea? He said in November, December, he met with DFK, and TFK essentially said, "Don't create something complex. We're doing that. Create something simple." But that was a long time ago, and I wonder if that's like if we had 2020 foresight. I kind of wish DFK Arena would have just done something more ambitious or maybe more complex, even if it was in the same format. Because again, do we have any line of sight to PvP? Is it even close? Could it, we had, who did we have on last time? And we said too long would be like December, but it could be a really long time till DFK releases polished PvP. And so it's like, I'm kind of confused by that DFK would have controlled this or really, gone with this idea that they shouldn't have used more nuance. I don't know. That kind of bummed me out.
Yeah, I have no idea on timing, man. Like, I mean, I think we're all in the same boat. We want to see it as fast as we can. Obviously, things that are going to come out before that are pets. DFK duel.
Someone just asked, why does your hero
Sweezy.
disappear? That's because the battle contract takes your hero. You're staking your hero. So your hero is not in your wallet while it's in the battle contract. Once the battle ends, your hero goes back to your wallet.
Yeah, and I heard I saw some people in Discord mention that it can take like up to 10 minutes to kick your hero back.
Ugh.
Dude, you just won another $10?
Bro, this
Dude,
is like
screw you,
taking
dude.
candy
Dude,
from a
full-time job.
baby.
Let's quit.
I am
You saw, guys,
transitioning
Baby Punch
into
just won like
DFK Arena. $20. That's a steak dinner.
Okay, also, and again, I love the ambition and people should be ambitious. Cosmic Universe wants to compete with WoW, but a MOBA, oh wow. Like that would be, I mean, I want
That
to
would
see it.
be
That
pretty
would be
sick.
legit, but I cannot even wrap my head around the expense and complexity behind pulling something like that off. But let's see it.
So yeah, I 100% agree with that. That it's you got to be really careful not to like get too far ahead of yourself. And I mean, I think this is promising. I think tweaking the game mechanics, cleaning it up a little bit. Like, it doesn't feel good, for example, when I beat Baby Punch on like 4 out of the 8 stats, but I only beat him by 1. So like my stats are like 14 and his is like 11. I do 14, and then he beats me on a stat that's 33, and my stat, his stat, let's say his strength's 33 and mine's 30, he does 33 damage to me. Like, that doesn't
Yeah,
feel very good. But
I think
Get
what would
better,
feel
bro.
great is just more player decision making. But again, that wasn't their design philosophy from the beginning. But being able to make decisions. What was that combat system you love from Final Fantasy? What is it called again?
oh,
Gambit?
Gambits.
Gambits. So that's cool, right? You get to make decisions.
Yeah, but I mean, that's what DFK PvP is going to be like.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be that. I'm saying this idea that if you are able to make decisions, you feel more accountable for the outcome. So to your point, it doesn't feel great when you're like, hey, I beat him 4 out of the 8 times, but he beat me by more. I don't know. So I think there could be a little more here.
I just wanted to highlight this. So guys, this is the build.defykingdoms.com website. And this is where people will submit proposals. And I believe the DFK Arena team already submitted. So I think if I go grant submissions, external game using DFK assets. So that's what they're doing. Yeah, okay. So you see right here, DFKarena.com grant proposal. You can come here and see their proposal. And this is where people can leave feedback. And I think this was a big issue. I'll see, like, look at this guy, DFK Humble Farmers, like, giving some, like, really helpful feedback. I haven't read it. Maybe it's like super critical. I don't know. But these are like, this is where we can come and like leave this type of feedback, because I know there was a big issue when the first time around, where it was just like all of a sudden this proposal was approved and all these community members were like, it just didn't feel right. Like they needed like some input before it even got to that stage. And so I think that's where we're at right now. And so like people can come put their input in, and I encourage anybody that's interested in seeing somebody build additional things we can do to participate in this and give your feedback.
DFK Deuce makes a good point, though. This is a counterpoint to Sandwich's comment, and that is they shouldn't get our feedback until they like and subscribe, and then now they can get the
There you
feedback
go.
of
There
our
you go.
stream.
This guy, can we get this guy on the team?
DFK gets it. DFK Deuce gets it, bro. We got to gate our feedback. So that was cool. I mean, how hype, right? That we get to see at least something.
Yeah.
You know,
Anything, honestly, I'm stoked about that.
although if you're a producer, like if you're, you're like getting a team together, you're getting investments, does it feel good to tie your fate directly to DFK as like a sub project of DFK? Does that feel good? Is that scary? If you were investors and I pitched you an idea and I said, hey, I'm going to build on DFK, does it feel good? Or are you like, yeah, I'm okay tying my fate 100% to the fate of DFK? Not that DFK is going anywhere, but does that feel good? Are you guys, as business people, would that feel good to you?
I mean, I think DFK is like it's blazing trails, and they're doing things that other games and chains haven't done. Like that NFT bridge is kind of a big deal, and that's a really cool thing that they've built. There's always risk though of like having all your eggs in one basket. So I mean, we all saw what happened this last week. Like the price of Jewel nuked. There was just a lot of negativity. Tons of stuff happened this last week. I think there was like a weekly, every single day this week, there was some sort of stream that happened from the DeFi Kingdoms team. And so like when you're like, hey, I just dropped 200K in development for something that is 100% hinged on DeFi Kingdoms. Yeah, I mean, that's probably a little scary. But at the same time, it's like those, like for example, DFK Arena, whether they get this grant proposal or not, the way I understand it is we own these NFTs. We can go and interact with their contracts, like DFK
That's
Arena's
true.
contracts,
Yeah.
like DFK could completely nuke, but like those NFTs and those IDs exist on our wallets. And as I understand it, like, I mean, they could continue to make this and have Jewel and gold sinks here, regardless. Like DeFi Kingdoms doesn't really have a say in that, but where they do have a say is like, hey, now it gets even cooler. You can interact with the contracts and start to use stamina, get experience. So
it's pretty interesting. It's for sure interesting. I mean, Baby Punch seemed to really like it, right? Although he was
Yeah, it was
winning,
fun.
yeah, because he
kind
just
of
won.
influences his pleasure response from that.
That's like 5 Taco Bell quesaritos, man. And everybody knows that's my
In my
favorite.
head, whenever I win anything, I convert it, whether it's USDC or one or Jewel, into a Taco Bell metric, so I can really gauge the value.
It's like 17 chalupas.
Dude, I'll give you 17 chalupas for that hero.
Dude,
Done.
I had one back when I was at the law firm. I always had a buddy, and he said he always joked that the U.S. federal government should get rid of the food stamps program and instead just issue people Taco Bell gift cards because dollar, like calorie per dollar, it is by far like the most efficient way to like
index,
to give
right?
people energy. Like if you're talking like how many calories can I get for $1, like hands down Taco Bell's the way to go. And he said at a minimum that is what we should be like instituting for like homeless populations. Just like, hey man, here's a $10 Taco Bell gift card. Like that's enough calories for at least a couple days.
So overall, I saw one person in chat said thoughts on the action plan meeting from yesterday. Did either of you catch that?
Yeah, I did. I think it's awesome. One thing I would have liked to have seen is like, and I know they've been talking about it, is like a roadmap, the revised roadmap. But I think everything they talked about are things that people have been complaining about, like insider trading. You need a compliance officer. I'd have to pull up to see everything, but like the entity incorporation, like these are all things that a legitimate project does, right? These are not things that, like a half-assed ruggy project does. So
Right.
Yeah.
Although one small counterpoint to that is I don't know if anyone thinks, I don't think there's any legitimate argument that like this is a rug, right? Like this would be a really inefficient way to rug. You should have rugged at $22, right?
Yeah.
So I just think it's more of a question of, can they achieve the same level of competence they've shown historically? You know, can they maintain their pace? Can they produce? But it sounds like from the meeting yesterday, you feel bullish on those ideas, right? You feel like those things are true, correct?
I think so, man. I mean, I think that everything that happened over the last week was a big wake up call, and they're like, we gotta do better, and that's how I felt like they reacted well. Yeah,
I
mean,
will say the lowest point for me was when Frisky was like, "You guys can vote me off the island." I was like, "Goodness gracious, sell,
Yeah,
sell, sell."
I didn't like that. I didn't like
I
that he
didn't
took
like
that
that either.
approach. I think he probably just didn't think about the ramifications
Right.
of making that particular comment. I think he was
He's like,
just
"Bro,
like
I was tired."
he
That's
was
literally what he
throwing
said.
himself out
I
there
was
to the
tired, bro.
wolves, like do what you want with me. But yeah, I feel like they're making a lot of good steps. I personally just hope that they narrow in their focus.
Please,
I
please,
feel like it's like we've
please.
got 17 different directions we're running at the same time, and I think that is the reason why it's taking so long to hit a lot of these big milestones, is they're just moving in so many directions. And I get it, new like project company corporation this big has to move in several different directions simultaneously, and so there's got to be a balance there. I just don't think they can. I mean, I think they need to think smaller and focus smaller while staying like legal and within boundaries. I just don't want them to try and grasp at everything that's possible out there. Like, let's
so what
just
do you think
narrow
they're
it in.
doing though? Like when you say that, like what are they doing that?
I guess I
Like,
was more referring to back with like DFK chain and expanding, and I felt like they just had so many different directions. Like, we've got pets coming out. It's like, okay, I can't do anything with my
How
pets.
long have they
Like,
been saying
get
that,
me
by the way?
combat and then get me pets that affect combat. Like, we're just not hitting them in order. It's like we're hitting all these different milestones that lead up to combat. It's like, get me combat and then get me things that affect combat along the way.
I
Like,
agree. Like, what's the purpose of the new questing? Like, pause that,
yeah,
scrap
the
that,
training quest. Like, we
stop
didn't
working on
need
that.
that. I
We
agree.
don't need that.
so
We don't need
yeah,
more
yeah.
idle
We
questing.
didn't need that.
Although I will say, I bet my hunch is that those, I mean, some of those, it's kind of like when the wishing well came out, it was a test to see like how XP gain works, how stamina usage works. That contract, the training quest contract is based off of stats, and so it was probably a test of, in a
Yeah.
sense, a test of a contract that they'll be using. My guess is probably for things like the land tournament, which will be like, one hero stat versus another hero stat, and what's the outcome. And it's heavy RNG based, like those training quests, and that's
can
my
see
guess.
that.
My guess
I
is
can see the
there's some
reason behind
testing
that.
going on behind that, and that at the same time they can give some sort of content. We got crystals now.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Sargent asked thoughts on the docs. So I think it's super interesting that Frisky said publicly, he said, like right during the crisis, he said, some people are asking me to dox. I don't think it's appropriate for me. I can't dox. And then like a week later, he's like, and I'm doxed, which is cool, by the way. I've been asking for that. People have been pooping on me for asking that. But two things happened. One, he tuned into our stream and was like, Bloater Punch is right, I should dox. Or two, the team was like, dude, we're in crisis. You like need to do things that will stop our crisis. One thing would be doxing. So I mean that's cool. I think that it's only a good thing that he's doxed. I feel really strongly that there should be a doxing. I think there's this weird stigma in crypto culture that people shouldn't be doxed, but when you're running $1 billion of assets, you should probably be doxed. So your guys' thoughts on doxing? Bullish?
Oh, definitely.
yeah, I think it's
It's
bullish.
for sure a good sign. It's letting all of us know that like he's all in on this. He's
Right.
not like taking a step back, letting
He's
the
not saying
community
like
mend.
vote me off the island. Oh wait.
Exactly. He's
Okay.
like, this is me. He's pulling back the curtains. He's like jumping in with 2 feet.
Charlie Sprocket, gardening is a nightmare 1x1 hero. Kill me. Bro, we need to set up a time to meet and comfort each other and like work through that trauma because I agree. It's like, do I want to mix a bucket of bleach and drink it or do I want to do more gardening? So I hear you, buddy. We need to meet up and like really work through some of our issues because it's hard. Blackwing, I don't see the point of the crystal token. They should have used Jew on both chains to do literally everything. I agree. I don't know. Sandwich Punch, do you have it, or Baby Punch, do you have a technical explanation? Like, it just doesn't seem purposeful. Like, why didn't they just maybe increase the supply or maybe a vote to increase the supply? Like,
So, I mean, what's
outside
the
of
difference?
that,
What's the difference between a vote to increase? Because I mean, anybody that's been on this show knows my thoughts on that, and that I view Crystal as essentially just a 25% increase of the total supply of Jewel on a different chain that allows,
yeah,
I mean,
more
but yes,
users,
we could have
more
just
growth.
bridged all the Jewel over. Yes, like from just an economic and tokenomics perspective, you could have just said, bridged Jewel over and said we don't have Crystal, but then you have the issue of, well, Jewel is capped at 500 million, and I'm sure at this point everyone's like, yeah, well, we could use a lot less supply with where the price is at. But we probably didn't see the type of adoption we were hoping for on Avalanche. And I think maybe some of that, a lot more of that will come as quests and stuff roll out in AVAX. Like, I think we still just don't see a lot of people from Avalanche being like, yeah, I'm gonna bridge over. Like, I mean, even to DFK chain, it's like bridging to DFK chain and Harmony is essentially the same for them, right? Like, either way, they have to bridge. It's not like it's easier to bridge to DFK chain for them than it is to bridge to Harmony. And I think a lot of people are just like, if I have to bridge, like, I don't want to deal with it. I think they're trying to knock down walls and make that easier. But yeah, I guess back to the Crystal question though, I don't know if you can go and say, like, amend a contract like that to say also the supply of Jewel is now 625 million. I don't know if that's possible.
Okay, let's talk about the time bomb. I'm just kind of curious your guys' thoughts. So there's a psychological element and there's a financial element that is a literal impact, which is, we used to talk in October about the unlock and it was always this far away thing and it's getting closer. How are we going to address it? How bearish is this idea of large amounts of token coming into with essentially only sell pressure or a ton of sell pressure? How do we address it? What's the solution? Is there a solution? Do we just like grit through it and just like take the hits and then hope, there's more utility? What are your guys' thoughts?
So I have some thoughts, and I haven't done any of the calculations, but I know Sandwich Punch, didn't you do some calculations on this and say that the unlock in the first week was going to be similar to what was being emitted from the gardens back in like January or something? Was that?
So, I mean, yeah, I'm still trying to compile some more snapshot data to have like from beginning of the project till now, but it's a tricky question, right? Because you've got numbers, like, and just absolute values, numbers are different. But then when you compare percentage of total supply, like, those numbers are not so different. So I don't know if that made any sense, but like, for example, like, 1 million emitted in that's unlocked in week 1 is like could have like doubled or tripled the supply of Jewel, whereas 1 million emitted in Epic 36 could be like,
a fart in the wind.
a 1-2% increase. So I'm still looking at it and kind of like trying to like wrap my head around comparing apples to apples. But yeah,
Here's what I'm hoping is the case is I'm pretty sure garden emissions end when Lock Jewel starts unlocking, correct? Am I correct in that?
No. So they'll continue.
How long do
that sounds
how long do
vaguely
those
familiar though? I've
continue?
heard another project talking
I'll pull
exactly
it
about
up.
that.
I'll pull it up. They will continue, at least for now, like the numbers I did. Let me pull it up. Jewel Gardens. So after Epic 36, which is coming up here soon, it will continue indefinitely until there's some sort of change to the Master Gardener contract at 4 Jewel per block. And I did some math on that. That's gonna be like several years. I'm not talking like 5 years. Like, eventually you hit the 500 million cap, but that's many years, 2 to 3 years past the unlock. the unlocking. So that I don't know what that means. Like what happens when the gardens and LP are such a fundamental aspect of the platform, when you no longer are emitting those? What does that mean?
So you don't have PvP, and now you don't have your DeFi that was like the baseline of the game.
Okay, but we're talking 4 years out here. Like,
Plot twist. Fast forward 4 years, you're like, guys, PvP needs to come out. Guardians are expiring.
PvP. Yeah. So
It's do or die.
did you
So
have?
is there a utility crisis? Is there a supply crisis with unlock? How are you guys feeling overall?
I think that. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say there's definitely a cliff that we are in 5th gear running at, but I hope it's not a very steep cliff. Like, we know there's a crap ton of lock jewel out there. I hope it doesn't have the impact that we're all like afraid it's going to. And hopefully what they've done is they've planned some events and some reveals and some product features, aka maybe combat around that time, where they're now incentivizing people to get playing the game, investing back into the game, as opposed to just taking their lock jewel and running. I mean, if they come out with combat and it's lucrative, it's fun, it's addicting, like, people will YOLO and ape into combat. And that could be one way that they could offset this metaphorical cliff that we're running at.
So one issue I see that I feel like DFK missed big on, and again, all this is hindsight, right? Like, they did their best, and now we're like picking it apart because all these systems are complex. But one thing I'm concerned about is the hero supply is indefinitely inflationary, but there's fixed demand, right? So they're going to do their best to increase demand for heroes. But like, let's say combat drops and there's more demand for heroes, that will help the hero price. But ultimately, the hero price will always have negative pressure because there's really no burn mechanic outside of PJ, which was a one-time event so far. And the supply just keeps going up. So it's like, I don't know how you address that. I think that's also something that probably needs to get addressed.
Yeah, I think the biggest things are going to be just more utility for the current game assets. That's going to help a lot with this quote cliff. And really, it's not a cliff. It's if anything, it's the gradient of the slope changes, but it's far from a cliff. Like, that is not what's happening. And then I think another thing, kind of like you were mentioning, is locked jewel utility. Like, I'm a huge fan of introducing ways
To burn
to,
the
like,
lock jewel.
hey, like,
Yeah.
what can we do? Like, maybe we do some sort of maybe we do a LAN tournament where the only way to participate is you have to do a buy-in and you have to do lock jewel, and it's like, it's a punitive rate. Or I think there's lots of things you could do to encourage spending lock jewel, because I think people with giant bags right now, because like right now it's like, people could go to DFK.market and sell it, but if you have a giant bag, those are not moving, right? Like, nobody's moving an 800,000 lock jewel bag, which I think there's been one listed there forever. Like, nobody's buying that. But if somebody's like, hey, I can get like all these other assets or some in-game utility by just like burning some chunks here and there, I think that would be huge.
Yeah. One thing that's kind of concerning for me is, I work at a Fortune 50 company, and we're so large that doing anything is just incredibly difficult. Like, turning their neck a degree to the left is super hard for them because they're so big, they're so bureaucratic. And it feels like DFK is a startup that has that problem, that bureaucracy problem. Hey, like your idea, like, hey, burn lock jewel for a LAN tournament. And I feel like the team's going to be like, all right, we need 3 months and we're going to crush that. It's like, really? Like, you need 90 days to like do that? Not that that's exactly correct, but that's, I wish and I think you've mentioned this before, and I don't know for sure, but I think basically maybe their architecture is so convoluted and hard to expand on because it's all Solidity, it's all these smart contracts, there's very little decentralized, and maybe that's part of that bureaucratic friction. But it's hard. I just feel like it's really hard for them to like you know, we've given them this response like we're on it, but they haven't communicated any dates. And part of that, I think, is even with a team of 50, which is 5x what DFK Arena is, they're just like, man, it's hard to get anything done. I don't know. That's kind of concerning.
Yeah, I mean, I think
No
this
response.
goes. Well, I mean, I think this goes to what they were saying, like, and they have said, and we don't really have a way to verify it, but like, I mean, I generally like to assume that they're telling us the truth is that there's a couple things, right? Like, smaller teams can be more nimble. And as you grow, which you kind of have to, as you get to a project this big, you have to start growing, but there are growing pains that happen, and you just have to figure out processes and systems in place to make that happen more efficiently. And it sounds like they've been working on that. And so really these next couple months will be telling. I think one thing I've never really understood is like, why did everything have to be like directly built on the blockchain? Like, why not have more stuff that's just done through like a web app and sort of a roll up, and then things communicate with the blockchain less frequently? I don't know. I don't know if that helps or not, but hopefully, I mean, it sounds like things are going well, and that like the structure and the foundation to start moving faster and more efficiently with the right quality is there. And, you know, I think the next couple months will be telling, like I said.
Awesome. Well, we're at the hour. Any last thoughts, guys?
I just on that quick note, I think when they're dealing with these smart contracts, someone in the comments said software is tricky, it's difficult, and when they're dealing with $1 billion in assets, it's like they have to cross every single T. They can't leave any stone unturned. It's got to like fully be vetted. So I think a lot of it is they are triple, quadruple checking everything to make sure that there's no loopholes, there's no exploits, or, you know, workarounds. So I get that. I get that it's slow. If that's the case, let's ramp up our developers. Let's get things moving. And it sounds like they're moving that way.
I will say this though, like, so I am on a team at a publicly traded company where, and I'm saying this with respect to like, if that's the case, let's ramp on more developers. Like, in my line of work, I started on a team of 2 people. It's like there's a large legal team, and I'm on a team of 2, and like we were able to handle things very quickly. We were very busy because it was just the 2 of us, and now we're up to 4 people. And every time we added one person, there was huge growing pains, and like ramping someone up, training them, like, oh no, this is how we do it. Like, I'm talking like 6 months, like, and we're like a year past the point of having had the 2 additional hires, and we're like, I feel like we're barely hitting stride.
Right.
Where it's like we're really effective with 4 people, but like, before that, it was there was so many times where I was so busy, and I was like, you know what, my boss would be like, have so and so do it, and I'm like, honestly, it will be so much faster if I just take care of it. But like that approach, you can never scale. Like, I'm constantly against the ropes and reacting, as opposed to like being able to be proactive about other things. So I can connect with that. So I don't know. I think there's a lot of
William
that going on.
Halstead said, "Father, please," for the shirt link. Can you guys put that in?
Yeah, I just linked it again. Hopefully,
I don't know if you can. I think it's got to go from the.
I just posted it in YouTube comments. I don't know if it'll come across.
Can you put it?
Okay.
Can you put it in Discord, and I'll throw it in the chat right now?
It's there in Discord.
Oh.
Or here, I can post it in our. If you want it here.
So guys, it's been fun. Awesome stream. We're glad Richard could come on. DFK Arena, super cool. Cool idea.
Yeah, it was fun.
Glad Baby Punch could earn some money on stream. And once again, super fun to have this conversation. Love talking DFK.
Yeah, thanks guys.
Appreciate everyone.
We should do a marathon. We should do a marathon one of these times. Just like all of our heroes, like where are we ending up?
Calling sick. Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching.
Just run through the arena with everyone.
That would get so tedious on like Hero 20. You're like, goodness gracious.
I could see it being pretty hype.
Is it?
One of these days, one of our play streams, you bring your 10 best, I'll bring my 10 best. We'll put dinner on the line.
All right, let's do it.
Okay. All right, guys.
You've got
Peace.
way better heroes than I do, though. So, all right, guys.